timing is insane.
Why? Half our friends have already gone. We can't live in this Kiva anymore. Manassas is the only choice.
Leave my family. We've been here for 3 generations. You think I can just up and go?
Why not?
I don't want you to go.
Okay, but I have to.
Why?
Because the company needs me to.
3 Charlie, come in.
3 Charlie, copy.
Prep your team for immediate mobilization to Visegrad. We've lost contact with the comm relay hub.
Roger. We're on our way. 3 Charlie, out.
There's nothing in Visegrad anymore. It's dying. Right along this farm.
I'm so sick of this argument. If we go, how are you going to support us?
I'll find a job. Alright, 2 if I have to. And things will get better.
You don't know that.
Maybe not. But it's better than staying here and having no future at all.
It's only 3 days, Gabe. I'll be back in no time.
I'll talk to you every night before you go to bed, okay?
Let's move.